Today we're talking about why you should watch the J.League, which is the first tier in Japanese football, because they just finished up their matches and the title race was one of the best ones you will see all season. Now, I've mentioned before that I love looking at random leagues around the world to try to stumble upon various title races, and while a lot of the major leagues tend to finish in the spring and early summer, there are actually others that finish in the winter, such as the J.League. This season, the title race came down to the final day between three clubs. Vissel Kobe, a notable team that's had players like Iniesta, David Villa, and Lucas Podolski in the past. Sanfrecce Hiroshima, one of the founding clubs of the J.League with some decent success in the past as well. And Machida Zelvia, a club experiencing their first ever season in the top flight after not even being a professional club just nearly a decade ago. Now, all three clubs have distinct histories and backgrounds, contrary to each other in the title race, which makes it all the more interesting, especially starting with Vissel Kobe. Now, this club, even though they've had all of those big names that I mentioned before, has never really had too much success. In fact, they never managed to win a league title with any of them, with Iniesta being the closest actually, but he left mid-season in 2023, which is the year that they did win the league. It's actually a wonder how they managed to sign all of these pretty big name players, even though their trophy cabinet is pretty barren, only winning 4 total trophies since the league's creation in 1992. However, even though their rich history of legendary players hasn't been met with the success that they might have hoped for thus far, there is something that is on their side of this club. When you look at the title winners of the past, you see a trend of teams winning a lot in just a short period of time. Very rarely will you see teams just trading titles with one another. Sanfrecce won their 3 titles in just 4 years, Tokyo Verdy won their titles back-to-back, Kawasaki won 4 titles in 5 years. It's not often for a Japanese club to just win one and fall off, so with Vissel Kobe being the current league defenders, that's actually something that they should be relishing rather than being nervous about. Now, they're currently leading the league by 1 point, but they were not always in that position. In fact, this is only the 5th week where they've been in first place. Regardless, they've always been in and around that top spot for the vast majority of the season, always being within striking distance, a handful of points of the league leaders. And now, going into the final match day, they have the league title in their hands. Now, Sanfrecce Hiroshima is a different story. As I said before, they were one of the founding clubs of the J.League, but their legacy extends back to the Japan Soccer League, which is what the J.League was called before 1992, which they were also a founding member of. They've been a part of the J.League in every season it's been around except 2, and is the most valuable club in terms of market value in the league. Despite this, they seemed like mid-table fodder nearly halfway through the season. After the 16th match week, they found themselves 12 points back from the leaders despite scoring the most goals, having the 3rd best goal difference, and going unbeaten after their first 11 matches. It just so happens they were one of the unluckiest teams in the league at that point, drawing 7 of their first 11 matches while consistently out-XGing their opponents. 3.22 XG and only 2 goals scored, 2.17 XG and only 1 goal scored, a 94th minute equalizer scored against them while having a man advantage for 2/3 of the match? Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Keep in mind, they were still leading the league in goals at this point despite these missed chances, but it certainly seemed like something that they would regret. At least it would be something if they didn't go on an 11-match unbeaten run featuring 10 wins. And so finally, after an unlucky first half of the season with an ungodly amount of draws, they finally found themselves in first place with only 5 matches to go. So those 3 straight losses against relegation battling and bottom half clubs saw their hold of first place slip away. A 92nd minute loss, a 1-goal loss, and a 3-0 loss where they nearly doubled the opponent's XG. If this doesn't scream the Japanese Arsenal, I'm not sure what does. Going into the final match day, they were just 1 point off the leaders, and it's more than plausible for them to win the title, but unfortunately they're going to need Vissel Kobe to drop points for any chance at winning the league. And last but not least, we have not only the most interesting club in the title race, but perhaps the most interesting story in the entire J.League itself, and that's Machida Zelvia. Now, this club is experiencing its first ever season in the top flight after being created in 2020. 2012, and they decided to go on a title charge immediately, specifically with a manager who was only coaching high school players 2 years prior. They have the best defense in the league, only giving up 31 goals, and they're still within striking distance of the title, being 3 points behind the leaders before the final match day, with a goal difference that would see them win the league with the correct results. However, there's actually some mixed feelings about this title race. While I'm sure the fans would have gladly accepted a top 3 finish before the league started, and I'm sure they're still going to be somewhat happy with it, they're actually going to be a little disappointed because they were winning the league for the vast majority of the season. But after a few negative results, including a 1-0 loss to title contender Sanfrecce, they saw that lead dwindle. Like I said before, it's still a positive season, but it's going to be one that they hope won't be looked back on as a missed opportunity. And eventually, Sunday rolled around, and with each club playing someone different contrary to each other, it was time to keep an eye on 3 separate matches. Machida Zelvia were matched against Kashima Antlers, a club pretty high on the table, and after 5 minutes, Zelvia found themselves down 1-0. Not a great start for the underdogs in that one, especially since they need to win just to have a chance at the title. Now, Sanfrecce weren't exactly doing any better as they also went down 1-0 in the 13th minute. So the 2 title contenders who needed to win were already down a goal early in their respective matches. Wait, hang on. I'm hearing that there is a goal scored in the Zelvia match. They're down 2-0. It was starting to look like Vissel Kobe didn't even need to do anything to win the league, but they scored in the 26th minute anyway to make it clear that they were not letting go of the title. And unfortunately for the neutral fans, this is where the title race came to a close. Now, Zelvia managed to get a goal back, but quickly conceded after to go on and lose 3-1, while Sanfrecce only managed to score a late consolation in the 93rd minute to also lose 3-1. So Vissel Kobe, despite not needing a good result, proved to be the deserving of the title after winning 3-0 and becoming J.League champions yet again, winning back-to-back titles. I said it before and I'll say it again, it's important to watch a lot of other leagues around the world. Not just because you might find a great league title race such as this one, but it gives us a chance to see other play styles, players, legends, and historic clubs. Yes, you should absolutely watch the J.League if you have time, but you should also keep an eye out for other interesting leagues. You might just find a story that resonates with you, and suddenly you found a new club to keep tabs on.